This is the year in review. In part one, we looked at the year that was, and now we look ahead. What's next for the new season? Peter Moody has mellowed and is now an easygoing and unassuming trainer.
Yay!
Yay!
Peter Moody should retire and hand it over to Kath Coleman.
Yay!
Let's start with the next big thing. Moods, who's your next big thing?
Listen, Nostradamus stuff, in that you're looking into the crystal ball, seeing what horses have improved, what riders are going to improve. Self-interest is the most important thing for me. Out of my yard, I've got a very promising 2-year-old colt called Gallant Sun, turning 3 this season. He's coming off a Sale maiden win. But I think he's possibly the shining light on my yard, and likewise snapping at the heels of the older generation like an I Wish I Win, who I hope can redeem himself in an Everest this year.
Blinks is just about wanting to pull your microphone out because you'd spotted that one, hadn't you?
He busted triple figures at Sale, yeah. He was probably the best 2-year-old winner outside of, the group races and outside of town this season, Gallant Sun. So, no, very exciting to hear you put him up. But I'll stick on the theme, 2-year-olds turning 3, and I think Growing Empire is the one that I'll put up. We saw him bash Bitter Creek around the valley in really slick time. We saw Bitter Creek was up there racing broadsiding. No match for broadsiding, of course, but Growing Empire had made light work of him as well, and then switched over to Adelaide. We probably don't go looking to the Group 3 breeders in Adelaide for our next big things most years, but the way he won over there, the time he ran was outstanding, and probably from a punting perspective as well. What's interesting is that the time takes a little bit of interpretation, so he might be one that just slides under the radar. So there might be a little betting angle there with Growing Empire as well.
I like it. Bossy?
I'm with broadsiding. I took really particular interest in this colt. I went down and had a look at him in the enclosure just before the JJ Atkins, and I love looking at those horses that you can see what they're going to look like in 6 months' time. He's definitely not the finished product yet. He's quite long and lean. And talking to J-Mac after the race, J-Mac's got a really big soft spot for this colt. So he could go on and be possibly one of the 3-year-olds in our Ladbrokes Cox Plate this year.
For me, next big thing, Jamie Carter win a major this year. I think this is the year that she sneaks a major, so that's my next big thing. Let's focus in on the 2-year-old crop turning 3 and what's in store for the spring for them. Which one are you most looking forward to?
I think broadsiding has the more upside of the high-profile stakes performing, Group 1 performing 2-year-olds we've seen. He looks the immature type that can take the next step. He looks an ideal Guineas horse off the back of his 1,1600 metre form, and as Glenn touched on earlier, he could well be here in a Ladbrokes Cox Plate off the back of a Guineas. Even though thinking that the coming stable, they are reservists, they don't like to stretch them out of their comfort zone, but he could force their hand and say, I am a genuine Cox Plate horse.
Blanks, we've just seen such a body of work at a mile, which we don't often see from 2-year-olds, 3-mile wins as a 2-year-old. I don't think it's been done for decades now. He's just done so much as a 2-year-old that just looks as though he's going to have that platform to elevate in the spring.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a horse better prepared for the Guineas since Animo. Same stable, and won the Guineas. Both had 7 starts as 2-year-olds. But as you say, broadsiding's got that huge base at a mile, which is so important. I think broadsiding v Storm Boy is the story of the spring. I think their clash in the Guineas, and we'll get it in the Guineas, I think, is mouth-watering, really, when you think we've got Godolphin v Coolmore, Cummings v Waterhouse.
It's that heavyweight battle, isn't it?
Might be even J-Mac v Ryan Moore if they can get him down here as well. So we might have the 2 best jockeys in the world going toe-to-toe around Caulfield as well, and 2 horses, both rated 116 at the moment. Moods thinks Storm Boy can't improve. I think he might be able to improve. Broadsiding's got this huge platform. It's the race of the spring so far.
Absolutely it is. What about when we project forward to, say, a Coolmore for those sharper types? Are we talking about a Lady of Camelot, our slipper winner? I
think that's the race I'll target with her for sure. But I'm with you guys. This Storm Boy, he's just speed on speed, and you'd imagine someone like Broadside just peeling off the back of that's going to be mouth-watering. But, yeah, Lady Camelot, she'll definitely go towards Coolmore if she comes up this prep rate. This is a thing.
You wait and see, don't you?
And there's so many others that we haven't even targeted that will just probably come and leapfrog all these all together.
The 3-year-olds turning 4, are they a good bunch?
No, they're an ordinary bunch, I think. A couple of nice horses in the back half of the season saved their blushes a bit. They won the Newmarket, Doncaster and Stradbroke, and Celestial Legend is probably the nicest of those horses. He's 119. Southport Tycoon was a good Australian Guineas winner at 119 and didn't get a real opportunity thereafter. So they're probably the front of house, but it's a very soft group overall. They were ordinary, not even just at the top end, but even filtering through, you could see that they were an ordinary crop.
Moods, there's talk of Celestial Legend going to an Everest. Is that his race?
Well, I suppose ownership pays the bills and they make that decision. He looks an ideal Golden Eagle horse for me. I thought he and a horse like V8, Doncaster winner and a rider winner, 1,500 at Rose Hill, that'd be the clash of the 4-year-olds at this stage, and the others probably have ground to make up to match it for mine.
Bossy, the Golden Eagle winner for you?
Oh, Celestial Legend. I hope they don't go to an Everest because he'd be just making up numbers, to be very honest. He's not a sprinter, that type of horse, but you've got a $10 million Eagle, which he can win.
Of other horses, thinking a horse like Riff Rocket, who was able to win the Victorian and the Australian Derby, what do you see for him for spring?
It's surely the Caulfield Cup first and foremost, I would think. They must have some sort of hope that they could become a Ladbrokes Cox Plate horse, but I think the Caulfield Cup is the race that they should have the big circle around on the calendar at this stage.
Bossy, you've said the Cox Plate in the past, haven't you, because of that turn of speed that he has?
Yeah, absolutely. You need that. You need to be able to absorb pressure and have turn of speed. You know, you can't be just like a plugger and win these races. But Warmonger, he was very impressive to the eye, obviously winning the Derby by 10 lengths in Queensland.
Warmonger's a mile in front of the Derby, 8 lengths in front, Warmonger, and Warmonger will destroy them. Warmonger's romped home.
It was the first time that he was able to use his one power, is he can stay. Blanks, where does he sit with you?
Yeah, he's a very, very hard horse to assess, so he becomes a really interesting horse going into the spring. He, as you say, the visuals, he won by the biggest margin in a Group 1 this century in the Queensland Derby up there, so a huge performance, but it is put into some sort of context by the other margins that we saw at Eagle Farm over the carnival. There were extended margins right throughout. We saw He's a Shocker won over 1.5 miles on the same day and Spread Eagle to field there. They were strung right out. Faulkner Park won the Q22 by the biggest margin this century as well. So margins need to be sort of put into context a little bit, but yeah, he stays.
OK.
Another couple that I'm looking forward to, the Kiwis, Crescetti and Orchestral, seeing how they develop as 4-year-olds.
Yeah, I think Crescetti is interesting because he's completely untapped and he's obviously talented. Orchestral, we didn't see the best of Orchestral here. She came across here and she got into 2 Mickey Mouse sit and sprint races, and I think she's got a bigger set of lungs than that. I think when she gets into a real race, we'll see the best of her. She was running overall time in New Zealand and looked the real deal. I think when we get something for her to chase in fast time, we'll see the real Orchestral.
Moods, what about Autumn Angel? Where does she fit?
Well, she beat a Kestrel in the Oaks, but I think she's probably going to be a better miler. She'll have an extended break and maybe aimed at a race like the Golden Eagle more so than the Caulfield Cups or even an Empire at Flemington.
On to the sprinters. Who wins the Everest? Mood, you've been sitting quietly waiting for this. I wish I win. Second last year. Can he go one better this year?
Listen, I certainly hope so. There's not a big margin amongst our top-line sprinters. I suppose the greater concern is a 3-year-old going to put its hand up and dominate, because there's been very little. We've seen a widespread outside of Imperatrice in the last 12 months. Who dominated in a certain zone, but I wish I win showing that he's as good as the rest, and he goes there in great form, hopefully, so yes.
Adam, who wins the Everest?
Mood says there's not a margin, but there is. I Wish I Win is the best older sprinter that we have at the moment. If he gets to the races fit and actually with a race under his belt, he wins. This is how it works with I Wish I Win. We've only seen him a couple of times third up. He's bolted in both times. So if Moods puts a couple of runs under the belt, he's clearly the benchmark horse, but I'm big on the 2-year-old, 3-year-old set, as you can tell. If there's one out of left field, and I think we could get one out of left field, make its way into the Everest and might be quick enough, and I think a horse called Espionage is probably an interesting little Everest flyer. He's probably triple figures at the moment, but he's the sort of horse, I think, that sort of horse from just outside the big bubble who could emerge pretty quickly.
Bossy, your Everest winner?
Oh, I Wish I Win. His best is clearly the best. Track conditions don't bother him. I think he's probably a horse if he can draw middle to out. The Barrow cost him last year. That's simple as that. His best is too good for everyone else.
Let's talk the Ladbrokes Cox Plate, and I think this sets up to be the storyline of the spring. Pride of Jenny versus the rest, pretty much, and how they go about beating her. Who do you think wins the Cox Plate?
I'm going to shoot Bambi. I think she can't win, Pride of Jenny. I don't think it's a different setup. The Cox Plate is a completely different run race than anything she's ever been in, and I'm going to say she can't win. I'm with Via Sistina. It's a serious horse. It's a weapon. And J-Mac got it wrong in the Queen Elizabeth, and like the others, he won't fall that trap again.
So how do they beat her? Just not allowing her to get so far in front?
Pride of Jenny is not the quickest horse for the first 200 metres. And here, you've got to be, for her setup, she's got to be the quickest horse in the first 200 metres, which she's clearly not. Then she builds on that after that. If she gets lost in that first quarter here, that's her race is gone. It's too hard to recover from
So
that.
you wouldn't be pulling barrier 1 if you got your chance to pull the barriers for the Cox Plate Pride of Jenny?
It'd be barrier 12.
Yeah.
100%. If you draw one, gone.
Blanks, are there any internationals we should be keeping our eye out for?
Yeah, Prognosis is one who's been to Hong Kong 3 times from Japan, but he's got a 129 figure in Japan. If you can run to 129 in Japan, you're a very, very good horse. 3 times he's raced Romantic Warrior, been beaten all 3 times, but all 3 times he's shown that he's got the engine to go with a Romantic Warrior. He just hasn't had the steer. Maybe we need to drag Bossy out of retirement, kick King Kawada off.
Don't worry, if they give me the call, I would come out of retirement.
That would be a horse worth getting out of retirement for.
Yeah, for sure.
Moods, do you think it can go to a local?
Yeah, listen, on current form, I'm with Pride of Jenny. I think horses improve rapidly off that run at 2,000 metres. That was her first 2,000 metre run in the Queen Elizabeth. I see her being stronger at it next year. Either her or a local 3-year-old for me.
On to the stayers, and to be honest, it's hard enough to find the Melbourne Cup winner on the morning of the race, let alone this far out. But Moods, anyone we should be watching towards the Cups? Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup?
Well, we've got to probably go through the Leopardstown Maiden Hurdle Trial in Ireland at this time of the year to find what'll be the Cup's favourite, what Willie Mullins or someone like that, or...
And there'll be the biggest hype, they're just going to win and then they don't.
We've just heard Blank's pot our 3-year-old form. In all seriousness, on a ratings perspective, I trained one of the featured 3-year-old winners in Autumn Angel, and personally I'm not going to aim her at the Cups because I don't think she'll have the ability to beat whatever lobs from the international.
Don't let me talk you out of it.
No, well, I'm not letting you. That was my belief, and it's been a belief for a good while now. You've got to look to the internationals or an international that's already here that is going to continue to improve the Waller, Mar stables. But every stable seems to have one now, except me. Please. So I'm thinking international. I don't see our 3-year-old Oaks and Derby horses being good enough to win either Cup unless something drastic happens and the planes don't arrive.
Yeah. Blanks, speaking of those planes arriving internationally, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you say it's hard to find the Cup winner on the morning of. I'll find it in July for you.
There we go.
Middle Earth, and it will be off the plane, was beaten in the Hardwick. You go back 10 years, beaten in the Hardwick was Dunedin, Red Cadeau. I think Fioronte was down the track in a Hardwick, so it's been a little bit of a source. He got into a tricky spot in the Hardwick. It didn't work for him, but it could be a case of lost the battle but win the war. Beaten there, but he stays out of the handicapper's path. He'll pick up a nice race soon, I would imagine, through the summer in the UK. Then he'll get on the truck, he'll fly down to Kieran's and he'll win the Melbourne Cup. Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. Write that down, Bossy. Declared it in July.
Very definitive.
Nice to see. Bossy, it's been a long time since we've seen horses win a Sydney Cup, Melbourne Cup, do the double. I think we're talking Mackay Diva. Circle of Fire. This was some sort of win in the Sydney Cup.
If he started now, he couldn't win.
No.
Honestly, no, not good enough. And I'm with you, Blanks. I don't think internationals will beat us this year. We just haven't got the staying firepower this year at all.
Bit of fun to finish, boys. This is a game I like to call yay or nay. I'll read you a statement. You choose yay or nay. Moods. No fence sitting.
No splinters.
Here we go. Leave the running rail true. Let the jockeys figure it out. Yay or nay?
Nay.
I'll be led by the jockey.
Yes, concrete it in.
Fillies and mares should have more weight. Give the boys a better chance.
Yay.
Yay.
No.
Big name jockeys miss out on rides because of the weights. Let's raise the minimum.
Yay.
Nay.
No.
Spoken like two blokes who don't have to drop the weight.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, correct.
Sell Rose Hill, take the $5 billion and relocate.
Nay.
Horse is not economics for me.
Nay. We've seen it happen in the trots. They get further out of town, people lose interest. We don't want that happening in the thoroughbreds.
Luke Nolan to retain the ride on I Wish I Win.
Yay.
Yay.
Go Trumpy.
Good on you, Trumpy. Yay.
I Wish I Win should race more.
Oh, yay.
Nay, we run where the money is.
Track bias is a myth. Trainers and jockeys should stop making excuses for poor runs and rides.
Track bias isn't a myth, but they should stop making excuses.
Yeah.
I like what you did there.
True.
Glenn Bosch should return to race riding.
Nay.
Nay.
Yay, the Prognosis in the Cox Plate. I've lined one up for him.
I've had my day.
Glenn Bosch should take out his trainer's licence.
Oh, yeah, I'd do that.
why
Yay.
not?
Yes, all jockeys should be made trained one day.
Peter Moody has mellowed and is now an easygoing and unassuming trainer.
Yay.
Yay.
Lovely company.
Peter Moody should retire and hand it over to Kath Coleman.
Hey!
I'll be led on that one.